Hi guys, this is Josh Krieger, one of the co-hosts of Edge of NFT, live at All That Matters. It's day 2 in Singapore. We're heavily caffeinated and we've time zone adjusted. And this is an exciting event. It's a melting pot of sorts of music and gaming and sports, entertainment, and of course Web3. So naturally I have some of the crew at Sandbox representing from Asia here, Yohan and George. Great to have you guys.
Thanks for having us.
And would love to learn a bit about each of you and your journey in terms of getting involved with Sandbox. Let's start with the OG, Yohan.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Yohan. I am currently Global Operations Manager for the Sandbox. I joined the Sandbox in 2019 in early days. So I've been sticking around.
That's really early.
It's really, and actually it's quite. It's not something that happens in crypto scene where someone worked for a blockchain company for more than 3 years, because here in the industry, like 1 year is like 10 years. In traditional market.
Yeah, I've heard that. I heard it's like comparison Web3 is like dog years, right?
Yeah, it's like interstellar. It's a different planet here. I began my role here in the Sandbox as the lead in Korea. So I've been leading marketing operations and just overall our activity there to expand the Sandbox there for last 2 years. It was this year when I made a transition into global operations so that I can have a global experience and to come to this great conference. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and George, what about yourself?
So I head up Singapore and Malaysia. I've been doing Malaysia for about a year, and I'm just moving into Singapore, so it's a new experience for me. All That Matters is a very interesting space for that. In the crypto space, I've been in the crypto space since the last bull bear. I think in 2016, 2017, had a bit of a career in the Web3 space. I've done ICOs, I've done a lot of blockchain advisory, but the Sandbox was actually the first NFT I ever bought, which was interesting. So I knew the head of China at the time, and we are very decentralized, so the head of Hong Kong, China was based in Malaysia. So we are friends, and he told me about the Sandbox, and that's kind of how I got in. I bought my first NFT, and then he said, I need some help in Malaysia, and that's how it all began. So I think this was about a year ago, and I've been here since, and now I'm going all in to the Sandbox.
Yeah, makes sense. It's been an exciting year for Sandbox. Of course, Matthew was one of our keynote speakers for NFT LA, and that was in March, so I'm sure there's a lot to catch up on, starting with Alpha Season 3, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about what's going on there.
Oh yes, I think back then when you met with Matthew, we probably had Alpha Season 2 launched. So Sandbox, we first launched the Voxet in 2018 and Marketplace in 2019, and 2020 we launched the Game Maker. And the Alpha Season was actually the first playable game content on the Sandbox that we launched last year, November, which was Alpha Season 1. We launched about 18 quests back then, and Alpha Season 2, 38 quests. For Alpha Season 3, we launched in the mid-August with 98 experiences.
98, that's an interesting
98,
number.
Yeah, almost 100.
Yeah.
We should have maybe created 2 more just to make it 100, but 98. And there are more than 650 quests to complete. So it's time consuming to finish the whole journey.
Yeah.
And Alpha Season 3, we've in this season. There are games using like IPs like Steve Aoki, like Snoop Dogg, and also like Walking Dead also. So you can come and play play Walking Dead game on our metaverse platform. And also, it's giving us a good boost in terms of user acquisition also. Like last year summer, our total registered number was only like 200K. But throughout the year, through several alpha seasons, now we have almost 4 million accounts created in our platform. So we've been making a very steady growth. Even during the bear market. I think that's the power of content. We're not, crypto-based, or we're not speculative, in the project. Our focus is on creating the contents for the users to enjoy. So I think thanks to that, I think we were able to make a steady growth even during the bear market.
Yeah, that makes sense. And George, am I allowed to ask what your favorite quest is from the latest batch?
Well, to be very honest, I like the Sueco one because I think I brought it up a lot because a lot of people, when they want to come into the metaverse, they're not sure what they want to do and like how does a musician or an artist come into the metaverse. So I felt that if you look at it, it's a really like an innovative form of storytelling to give people an idea behind the artist. So they play some quests, they play some games, they get to know a bit about the history of the artist as well. And from there, they create more of a connection with their favorite artists. I mean, we did that with Snoop Dogg as well, with his Villa, and Sueco's another one. So I think in many ways, one of the unique thing about the metaverse when it comes to user-created content or brand content is about that advanced or expanded storytelling. Another example was like we were speaking to like movies, right? And you know there are independent movie makers who wants to go into the metaverse, but we told them, what if now your storytelling could be two-way? Because movies is all one way. You're telling a story one direction to an audience, but you can then add on that metaverse experience, and people can be a part of the story and expand it. So these are things that we are working on. Maybe some companies are experimenting on. So to me, that would be my favorite.
Yeah, that's really.
Yeah, also just to add, I think one of the key attributes for Alpha Season 3 is really play to earn. Users can complete this quest and earn Ethos Point, EPs, and they will give them rights to earn tickets so that they can win raffle ticket. They can join the raffle to join to get the Alpha Season 3 ticket. So once they have the ticket, they can get 500 cent in reward as a basic, and then if they hold any of our existing NFTs, they will get additional cent as a
Guaranteed
reward.
rewards.
Guaranteed rewards. And finally, if there's a leaderboard in Alpha Season 3, and if you are the first place, you will receive 30,000 cent, which is actually like closer to like 30K in dollars. So like you play, game our Alpha Season 2 for 3 months, and there's a good amount of
It's a very competitive amount of value to be created. Especially depending on where in the world you live and the cost of living, that could be extremely meaningful. That's really exciting, guys. And one reason this is my first trip to Singapore. For the whole team, in fact, that's here, and
welcome.
It's a really hospitable country. Everyone's like so friendly. The food's amazing. Really interesting architecture, and there's a lot happening here in Singapore. A lot of people asking, "Are you moving here?" I was like, "I don't know, maybe." But you just came on board for Singapore, and you've been here a while. Can you give us a sense of what's going on the ground in Singapore and why it's become such a significant blockchain hub?
Well, I think when it comes to Singapore has always been a regional hub for all kinds of business, right? Especially when it comes to technology and innovation. It's been spearheaded a lot by the government as well. And it's been voted for 2 years running to be like the top technological hub in the world. So, and because of that, the acceptance to technology is really big. A lot of companies here are very open. The conversation is easy. Like, compared to other countries that I've been with or I've managed, when we talk about blockchain, some countries are still like, is this legal? That's the conversation. But in Singapore, it's what can we do? So there's a very different starting point, and it's that openness and that desire from the smallest companies to the biggest companies to innovate their business. So I've been here like 2 weeks, right, preparing for the introduction of the Sandbox in Singapore. Already we've launched an academy. We've got DBS in the same span of time because all this was pre-negotiated. But more than that, I've met every kind of company you can think of. I've met so many of the biggest household names here, telcos, funds, etc. And they all want to talk. They all want to do something. And the conversation is like, oh, we want to do this, or we want to do that. Can we do this? And that's a really good conversation to have in any country, if you think about it. Because other countries, they'll be more like, tell me what you want.
Yeah, that's really cool. And Yohan, you've been here a little bit longer, and I have an observation. I'm curious, comment on it. You could agree, disagree, but I went to one of the National History Museums, and it just become very clear that the whole history of Singapore, which is fascinating, as you got these great waterways and an economy that's really based on building bridges, imports, exports. So why not extrapolate that to the metaverse and to virtual exchange of goods and services? And it just seems like it's a very open culture about trying new things and being innovative. What are your thoughts there?
I agree. I think every country has its own attributes, and I think it's important to capture those values into the metaverse to make it more appealing for players and partners. I believe that Singapore has been always the leader in terms of innovation, and they always strive to be the most innovative country in Asia. So I think what we're discussing at the moment, it's not fully decided, but we want to make, we are preparing something like a Singaporeverse. So in the Sandbox, what we've been doing since the early this year is we've been doing a land sale with the theme of each regions that we are expanding. Like for instance, in Hong Kong, we have a market there also. So we launched the mega city within our metaverse, where we introduced all our Hong Kong-based partner companies and IPs. We are doing the same with Korea also. So we are launching Kverse with all the entertainment companies, sports companies, and from companies from the financial sector, media and crypto. We're introducing them in the Kverse, in the designated location. We're doing the same for the Singapore, and we will definitely we are in the process of the building narrative. So we'll see how that goes, and I hope that our story will be appealing to the Singapore market and to our partners.
It sounds like it will be, and it sounds like you guys have some really fun jobs. George, what are you looking forward to here in the forthcoming quarter or two?
I think right now there's a combination of things, but the key thing is to try to have some innovative experiences for the market. So we're really building that. Like the Academy is one that's very educational, and that's not a common thing in the Sandbox globally, but we really want to build creators and builders. So it's not just about the tech, it's also about the convergence of art with tech. And that's where the Academy comes in, because we teach people Vox Edit, Game Maker, and we want to do more of these kind of initiatives. We got some really cool stuff that we are planning for that I think people will be excited about. But I can't.
Any hints?
I think Alpha Season 3 has like interoperability, right? With like BYC, Gutter Cat Gang, number one, right? Represent, right? But so the point is these NFTs, a lot of them are these communities that are coming in, and we make them interoperable. So there are some things that we're working on in this space as well. It's a big use case for the metaverse, right? To be interoperable with other projects as well. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that, because Singapore is not just for Singapore-based companies. Companies throughout entire Southeast Asia, and there are many huge projects in Southeast Asia. They meet here, they converge here. So I'm excited to really connect and bring new communities in, and that opportunity to do so in a conducive place like Singapore for the next 2 months, 2 quarters. And why next 2 quarters? Because we're in a bear. So it's probably the most accessible time for companies to collaborate with us, in a sense, because we're building, right? And this is a time where real builders are here, so we don't have to deal too much with the speculators, the pump and dumpers. They're all not there. So it makes the conversation a lot more constructive. So I think the next 2 quarters we want to take advantage of the bear and do a really good implementation into the Singapore.
Well, that's cool, and guys, you're more than welcome to come join us in March of 2023 at NFT LA. I'm sure we'll have a lot of the U.S. representation from Sandbox there. It'd be amazing to have you guys, in a panel talking about what's going on in Singapore. So let's definitely, work on that. And meanwhile, if folks want to stay in touch with you guys or get involved in Sandbox and all the exciting stuff you're doing in Singapore and throughout Asia, what should they do? Where should they go?
I think the easiest is to connect with me on LinkedIn or my email. So George@sandbox.game, very easy. right? So that's meant to be easy to connect with. But yeah, LinkedIn and email is great to connect, as well as our Twitter as well.
Yeah, and just visit our website. All the contact information is there. But for Singapore and yeah, to join our initiatives here, yeah, please contact George, who is our head of Singapore.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for spending a little time together, and looking forward to seeing you around town the next few days. And wish you the best with the next phase of the Sandbox journey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.